Hey, what's going on, guys? This is TerrenceRe, and I got a stock market update. We normally don't do one this late on a Friday evening, but since this was the last session of the year, I wanted to come on and then talk about what I think is going to happen for next year, what the big winner is, or what I think anyway will be for next year. And also, I was looking at something online that prompted me to come on here and talk about it as well. Kind of ties into it. So as today, the day was the S&P 500 was down most of the day. Um and then towards the end of the day we got a little bit of a rally. Now, if you're just looking at the screen right now, you can see it almost finished um what we would call maybe like a hammer. We got this long wick right here, and you got this body. So it's almost like a hammer, like Thor's hammer. So generally when you get something like that, we would expect next week when the market opens on Tuesday. I believe the market is going to be closed Monday in observation of New Year's. Excuse me. So when we get that open on Tuesday, we may get a gap up or something like that and get a little run up. Let's take a look at the expected move for next week, $83. We call it 84. So let's put our indicator up on the chart and then just take a look at it. And as soon as my screen unfreezes, you'll see that it'll draw the lines up here. And so I do have an expected move butterfly that I placed today as soon as the my screen unfreezes. But one of the reasons why I wanted to do a video today is because I seen an article. Let's see if I can get this off here. There you go. I seen an article online on. I actually was on Twitter, and then somebody I follow on Twitter. What's his name? Um, Gavin, something like that. But he wanted another trader guy. He be posting charts and stuff like I do, and he had posted something on here. I think that was him. Let's see. He just posted S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 just had their worst year since the financial crisis in 2008. And then there was another post by a guy on here talking about um, central about CBDC, and I ain't know what he meant by CBDC and something in Nigeria. So, obviously, it showed that it was trending. And so what came up per cointelegraph.com, and you can see it everywhere. It's everywhere. Financial Express. Um, Once you put it in, you'll see it all over the place. So basically, it's saying that the limits set by the Central Bank of Nigeria are part of a broader push to encourage digital financial transactions. Nigeria bans ATM cash withdrawals over $225 a week to force the use of CBDC, basic central bank digital currency. So they trying to force the people over there in Nigeria to use digital currencies. I don't know what that would look like here. So, a Bitcoin enthusiast may say, hey, that's a great thing. This is one of the things that me personally, I've always been against in theory, um, digital coins. And let me tell you why. Like, I'm in favor of trading them, right? As a trading vehicle, basically as a way um, place a trade, right? Speculate. As a means of speculation, I'm cool. I'll speculate on the games tomorrow, right? If you give me a line, I pick what I think's gonna happen and give or take points or over under. Speculating or gambling. That's a whole nother topic. But I'm for that. But I'm not for necessarily a digital currency. I'd rather have my currency in my hand. And I know people say, well, we can't keep the manipulation of the of the paper money or the fiat. But when you make it digital, it says here that the government of Nigeria is trying to force the people into this. When has a government ever forced something good on a people? And if you just think about that, like if it's really great for you, why would they force it on them? You don't have to force somebody to take something that's good for them. At least you shouldn't, unless they're too ignorant to understand what's good for themselves. But but in this particular case, because you can control it if it's digital, you can shut it down. You can set stipulations on how you can use it. Hey, you don't do this, you don't have any digital currency. And that's the reason why I'm not necessarily for something that I can't put in my hand. Like I want it in my hand. If you want it from me, you got to come take it from me, right? And so with something that's digital, you can check your phone and be like, "Oh, I got this," and then they be like, "Oh, well, you didn't comply with this." Next thing you know, you go back and check it, and it's gone, right? They gotta, they take it from you, and so those are that when you see stuff like that and what's going on in Nigeria, that's kind of that's shaky. And a lot of times you may say, like, so here in the United States, we may say, well, that'll never happen here. Um, just it blows just like wildfire. Like when wildfire starts, if you don't put it out immediately, it'll just spread. And so something like this, trust me, our government and other governments all over the world are looking at how the people will react, right? So you can look at that as almost like a case study and say, okay, we see what these people did. We see how the rest of the world reacted. Now we can kind of get a baseline on when we try it here. So then they'll try it in another country, right? Before they you see it in the West, you'll see it in some more countries, and then you'll see how they'll see how they react before they bring it to us. So hopefully I'm wrong. That's a prediction I'd like to be wrong on, but that also, in my opinion, is going to coincide with the rise of gold, right? So that's really what I want to make this video about. Yes, I'll make another video about my expected move butterfly. I just put one on to the downside. So like if we get a move down here by next Friday, and I could pin it and try to make a little money on it. But I'll do that video later. I want to talk about gold, and I want to introduce another company that I've come across. So gold, as you've seen in previous videos, I got my markups on here for gold. Let's take a look. Let me close out. Well, no, I'll leave that open. So you can see that we got this big up move right here. And I drew my Fibonacci retracements, and then I put my extensions on. So if I'm right in the explosion or of these digital currencies and it being pushed by different governments, will people, in response to that, start trying to stack up on commodities or precious metals? Will these type of forms um, in my opinion, real value, real intrinsic value in these precious metals and commodities, will they begin to rise? Will they become more coveted as a way for the people to maybe try to stay independent, right? Because this push is coinciding with this push in gold. And like I said, we're already at one level. We got a second level at 100, which I'm almost certain we'll get there. I'm willing to, place a pretty bet. Well, I am in a particular gold stock, and we're gonna talk about that. So I do think we'll get to this level. Yeah, this level may be possible as well. But if there's a real push, we could see something all the way up around the 2400 level. Now, this is gold futures. This is the spot gold futures, so you can kind of track gold's price by looking at gold futures, right? And the gold futures are pretty expensive to try to trade. So you may say, hey, how can I get some gold exposure or some exposure to gold or silver or whatever else you may have a hunch that you may want to invest in? What's a way to figure out some of those places to get that type of exposure? I've run across and I got something for you. This company called Magnifi. I think I'm pronouncing it right. So if you just Google or you just go to magnify.com and you can see up here this link, and you can see I already got like some gold ETFs and up here, excuse me. And let's see, like you got some different, and it just depends on how what you put in to search for, right? So we could just say if we came up here and we just put gold, just gold searches like it says, what do you want to invest in? So I come up here and I put exposure to gold. Let's try that. Now you look up here, you see bar, BAR, Granite Shares Gold Trust, Newmont Corporation. It's giving you the GDX, Vanek Gold Miners. It's giving you Gold X. This is a Fidelity Gold right here. It's giving you, this is a stock ETF. So it's giving you things that you can invest in if you want to get some gold exposure. And over here, if you look to the right, it says related searches. It says high return exposure to gold funds, low cost exposure to gold funds. So these are different type of searches that people have. And you can come over here and you can kind of see. And if you wanted to try to play the move in gold and maybe you don't want to buy gold futures, you can come here. Here's a stock, WPM, Wheaton Precious Metals Corp. I never heard of them, but here you go. That's a stock. Let's see. We got other ETFs on here. What's this? DGL, Investco, DB Gold. So this is a way, come in here and put this in. Like they'll let you don't even have to have an account for it to do this. Now you can invest through them, but I would just come over here and you can see GLD. That's on my watch list. So you can trade this. So this is a way, whatever this is, PHYS. A lot of these I've never heard of, but this is just showing you a way to get exposure to gold. And if you come over here, let's see, material says 100%. So I'm guessing that's like how much of an exposure. This one says, okay, 86.6% of it is exposure to gold materials, and it says others. So this is a way of, you can do this with anything. Let's say something like China. I talked about China in a previous video. So we got funds with China exposure, top China funds. So let's look at funds with China exposure. K-Web. And that was actually in my video. I actually did do a video on K-Web. So you can come over here in K-Web, Crane Shares, ETF, K-Web. And so this would be a way if you wanted to get exposure to Chinese stocks or stocks that have exposure to China. Let's see. You could do this with, let's do something like Russia. Let's see. Russian bond. Let's see. Russian bond exposure. Let's see. Let's see what comes up. So you got something here. I'm guessing these are low percentages though. So you had to probably have to do some research on them. But this will get you in the right vicinity. And then it has related searches. So I had one thing in Russian bond exposure. So over here we got high return Russian bond exposure, low cost Russian bond exposure, funds, Russian bond exposure funds, low risk Russian bond exposure funds. Trending searches right now is ex-US investments, um, best impact funds, finding large cap funds, fintech ETFs with no leverage, investing in international bonds. So this particular website, and you can invest here as well. I don't know what if you like decide to invest here. I'm sure they probably even give you more access to certain things. I would imagine, but this is a way of finding what you want. Like you may have an idea of something you want to get into, but not know how. This is a website that you can come to find that. And so I really do think, couple that news with what's going on in Nigeria. Trust me, it's just you're looking at it now like, hey man, that's Nigeria. It's only a matter of time before we see it and in the West, right? A lot of this stuff you see play out somewhere else as like a study, so they can watch how people react, you know, and then they bring it, then next thing you know, you start seeing they're already with the case going on with SBF and FTX. I imagine, you know, now everybody's crying for regulation, right? You which I don't think. I think that if you gotta accept that risk, like if you're gonna trade cryptocurrencies, the whole point, at least what I thought anyway. I'm not an expert on Bitcoin, but what I thought was the whole point of was for it to be decentralized. You don't want no regulation. You don't want no control. Or you don't want no one having any control. You want to let the actual market regulate it. But now they want control because people lost money. But that's the whole point of investing, right? The the larger the risk, you know, the larger the reward. And so when you take away, now people have lost money, so they want to regulate it. They want to regulate out the risk. So once you regulate out the risk, you're gonna trade. It's a trade off. You're gonna give up that for something else. And I just think that we should, me personally, if I was a Bitcoin maximalist, which I'm not, but if I was, I wouldn't want any regulation. I wouldn't want them people hands on it. Stay out of it. Hey, I lost my money. I just move on, right? I almost put some money in FT. I looked at it. I pulled up FTX and I looked at it. The platform looked sweet when I was looking at it. I was like, okay, okay, you know. But it's just something about when you go to put money in some of these brokerages and stuff like that, and they pull up a country that you can't pronounce. You don't know where it's at. You got no addresses, stuff like that. It's a reason why they're doing that. They're trying to escape regulation, and a lot of times they're trying to escape regulation because they may be doing something that they could not do here in the United States, right? So you accepting that risk when you put the money in that company, or that brokerage, and so you got to deal with it. But you can get a lot of big gains. A lot of these places allow you to use more leverage, especially when you're trading like the forex market. So that's that. So I'll keep an eye on this story in Nigeria on what's going on with this digital currency, and then we're gonna keep a watch on gold this year. I'm actually my exposure to gold is through GOLD, Barrett Gold Corporation, and you can see the chart looks similar. So I'm in this. I got like a mark take price profit of like here because I got in down here somewhere, but I don't know. I may not even take profit and I may just leave it off. Be honest with you, and maybe even buy some more shares next week. Maybe it depends. I want to see what I'd like to see it pull back a little bit, to be honest with you, so I can get some more. I do think that I am one of them people that think that at some point gold is gonna make a big run. I don't know when, but I do think that it is. Gold, silver, things like that are gonna make a big run. So that's just my feeling. Um, I do actually have like some philosophical reasons as well. Maybe in another video I'll share some of that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share and comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the Nigerian situation um, with the digital currencies. And with that, guys, I'm gonna be out. Peace.